We saw last time how the prophet Isaiah revealed that the promise to David of an everlasting kingdom would find its fulfilment in one who would set up a kingdom which has a much greater scope than the local Jewish kingdom. Isaiah wasn't the only one to give us details of this kingdom. Another Jewish writer to reveal details about this kingdom was Daniel. Daniel was one of those Israelites taken into exile by the Babylonians. In Babylon, he would rise to a position of prominence and serve under 4 kings. Let's hear what Daniel had to say about this kingdom.
You, O king, saw, and behold, a great image. This image, which was mighty, and whose brightness was excellent, stood before you, and its aspect was awesome. As for this image, its head was of fine gold, its breast and its arms of silver, its belly and its thighs of brass, its legs of iron, its feet part of iron and part of clay. You saw until a stone was cut out without hands, which struck the image on its feet that were of iron and clay, and broke them in pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken in pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, so that no place was found for them. And the stone that struck the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell its interpretation before the king. You, O king, are king of kings, to whom the God of heaven has given the kingdom, the power, and the strength and the glory. And wherever the children of men dwell, the animals of the field, and the birds of the sky, has he given into your hand, and has made you to rule over them all. You are the head of gold. After you shall arise another kingdom inferior to you, and another 3rd kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. The 4th kingdom shall be strong as iron, because iron breaks in pieces and subdues all things. And as iron that crushes all these, shall it break in pieces and crush. Whereas you saw the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, it shall be a divided kingdom. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, because you saw that the iron mixed with miry clay. As the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Whereas you saw the iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cling to one another, even as iron does not mingle with clay. In the days of those kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, nor shall its sovereignty be left to another people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Because you saw that a stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it broke in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God has made known to the king what shall happen hereafter. And the dream is certain, and its interpretation sure.
Daniel is interpreting a dream which God gave to the great king Nebuchadnezzar. God revealed to Nebuchadnezzar what would happen in the future. First, Daniel gives the dream, and then, in verses 36 to 41, he provides the interpretation. Daniel speaks of the kingdoms that would come after the Babylonian kingdom. Finally, he gets to the feet of the image and describes feet of iron and clay. These feet represent the 4th Empire, the Roman Empire. The conquering Romans are the iron, and the subjugated nations they control are the clay. Next, Daniel speaks of a stone, cut without hands, that struck and crushed the other kingdoms. This is the kingdom that God set up, which would remove all the other kingdoms from the scene and grow until it filled the whole earth. Daniel gives us not just the extent of this great kingdom, but he also gives us the timing, saying that this eternal worldwide kingdom would come into existence during the Roman Empire. There is much to encourage us here. We can see that the purposes of God are sure. Even empires rise and fall to bring about his certain purposes. We know too that this everlasting kingdom was set up in the time of the Roman Empire. So the king is ruling right now, governing all things for his glory. Yet there is still much we're not told about how this kingdom would come about. And that is what we will see next time.